Alright, so I'm going to break down Rivian here. Rivian is shaping up to be one of my favorite stocks going into 26. Alright, so I don't want to get too optimistic because anything could happen in the markets. But what we're looking at here has been kind of like over the past few years, like my bread and butter in terms of setups. What did we see kind of like this, right? What looked like this in the past couple years that ended up performing extremely well, right? So what am I talking about when I mean what stocks also looked like this? Well, what stocks had a massive downtrend, right? We have this massive downtrend here. Then we have this big base of accumulation, right? This big base here of accumulation. Which stocks look like this, right? These are characteristics that are healthy on distressed assets, right? So think about in the past couple of years, what other stocks were like this? Well, let's look at a few, right? We'll look at Palantir. Palantir is a huge name, kind of went crazy in the past couple of years now. But when it comes down to it, recognizing patterns is the bread and butter of what we do from a technical point of view. And again, we have here on PLTR a few years ago, back in 2020, 2021, you have a top. You see this bear market, this massive downtrend happen. Okay. That happens from 2021 all the way to the bottom of December 2022. That's like over a year of a downtrend. It's 2 years of a downtrend, right? Beginning of 2021 to the end of 2022. That's 2 years of down only. Think about how many people get weeded out throughout that period, right? Then you have this massive rally to the upside, okay? Downtrend, you see this sideways accumulation that takes about from August 2022 up until May 2023 of that sideways movement. Then you get the breakout, okay? Very similar pattern. This right here is where we could be on Rivian, right? This is the area we could be at on Rivian right now, right? So that's one example. There's PLTR. Let's look at Galaxy, right? This one's a favorite on my channel. I love Galaxy. It's been a super good technically sound stock for me in the past few years. Again, what do we see here? Very similar, big downtrend. And that's matched with a period of time, a long period of time of sideways accumulation. And then look what happens. You have that breakout to the upside. Okay, there's Galaxy. Now we have Rivian. We're looking at Rivian now. Big, this is over a year and a half, right? Like if you look at the time spent in the downtrend, and again, the highs were at $180 back in 2021, and it went down as far as 95% in 2024. That's like 3 years of downtrend right there. 3 years. From the peak, which was, again, November 2021 was the peak, up until April. That's 889 days, over 2 years going down. And then we spend some time here going sideways, right? This period of time here in this sideways range. That's another year plus. 600 days, 602 days going sideways. Okay, so we have those two pieces, two characteristics that we love to see, the downtrend and the accumulation zone. What are we expecting here on Rivian? Well, we're expecting now that this stock has underperformed for over 4 years now, down over 95%. This is the time to be risk on. The risk reward is now in the bull's favor here for a longer term push to the upside. Could it go sideways? Could it go down still? Of course. But if we're going to take risk, we want to take risk on assets that have these two characteristics, right? So what can we expect now? Well, all we have to do is really look left and have some sort of plan for, this retracement to the upside. Okay, so what are we going to look at? We could do a few things. Here's our fib retracement tool. The fib retracement from the very high to the very low brings us here. The 0.236 is back all the way up at $48. This is eventually where I expect the price to reach. I don't know, at some point in the next year and a bit, I imagine there's going to be a rally towards this area. You're going to start to see Rivian a lot more in terms of on the road, actually, like their cars, but you're also going to see, the hype of their stock kind of starting to outperform. Another thing I kind of want to mention here about Rivian, it hasn't really been following the market the past couple of years. Bunch of crypto stocks, bunch of quantum computing stocks, a bunch of AI related stocks and companies, they all performed extremely well. Rivian, super quiet. Now what we're seeing is potentially a top in crypto. We're seeing a top in potentially AI stocks starting to like slow down. Maybe some people think they're overvalued. If that's the case and Rivian wants to continue ignoring the market, the way it's going to ignore the market this time is by going to the upside while the rest of the market is going towards the downside, those risk on assets. You might see a flow of capital flow into stocks that look like this. You also have Zoom that looks like this. You also have Peloton that looks like this. These are all stocks that kind of were super hyped back in the COVID era. Okay. That's one way right here, 0.236. That's one mark out, right? Another way you could look left, you could just mark out some resistance areas. So we have here, that's a major zone, I'd say, of a resistance point. This right here, I'd say $23, $24, $23.50 to $24. This is another zone. I could see us stalling here, before we get some major move. I imagine this is going to be the first level of resistance, okay? So I imagine if we're going to have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move, we'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of move up into this zone. This is kind of what I'm looking for. And then we'll have some sort of a period of time where a major consolidation happens before we continue on upward. How it's going to look exactly, we don't know just yet, but these are the kind of targets I'm kind of, pointing out for myself to prepare, right? Right now, we're hovering right into a resistance zone. Let's clear this up a bit. Right now, we're in a zone. We're battling. We're trying to eat up as many shares at these levels right now so we can get that resistance to flip into support, and then we get that move to 24, right? So that right there is the first target. We've gotten there. This first came on my radar around 1350. That's where I put in the calls. We're up 40% since then. I still think there's still upside to go. It's just a matter of time and patience and monitoring, the characteristics here. We're starting to see some good bullish volume coming in. A lot of higher lows have been developed since April 2024. Look at that. We have this ascending triangle here. Another bullish characteristic I like. When we pull up the volume profile, we have this shelf that we're above now, and it's used as support. That I love to see. And above here, there's really nothing else. The only next volume profile level is again around the 24 area. Imagine we get some sort of stalling here. You could see the volume profile. That's the next level. So we could see something like this potentially where we get that move to the upside, hit that $24 level, consolidate for a few weeks, and then we get the breakout towards the $30 to $40 range, right? So these are the eyes that I have on Rivian. This is why this stock kind of seems like a pretty good risk to reward ratio. These are the thoughts and kind of my vision behind this right now. Things could change. I'll be updating it through my post on X, but that right here is the breakdown on Rivian. Peace.